poppin', y'all? Thank you for tuning into the JLEGEND EFFECT. Got the homie.
AJ Dunk, all caps.
Yeah, AJ in the building playing with them shit locks.
Yeah.
I want to give a special shout out to all the people running around here with these dumbass bow ties that they stole off of Valentine's Day bid. There's no need to live life like that. That's not what Jesus intended for our world to be like.
Listen, this is not Valentine's Day. This is fresh off of Steaks and BJ's Day, baby. That's the closest holiday that this is from. You dig?
Alright, y'all. If you haven't, go back and subscribe on YouTube, and make sure you put the hit the bell for the alert button so you can get the alerts when I upload something new. Make sure that you do the same on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, whatever you listening or watching on. Please subscribe. You know, I know there's a lot of people all the time who just want me to send them episodes and stuff, and I know there got to be people tired of me sending me episodes. But if you just subscribe, I don't got to do either that, and all of us just live comfortably. All right. Check out ajdunk.com. Today we're gonna get into a serious topic. The fuck?
I'm not laughing at the fact that you said we're getting into a serious topic. I'm laughing at how you said, yeah, check out ajdunk.com. Today we're going to get into a... It was like there was no period, there was no comma, there was just no pause break. It was like the same breath.
Yeah, check out AJ. You know what I'm saying? ajdunk.com. All right, so, you know, I was watching ESPN the other day, and an interesting story came across on Outside the Lines, which came out. It initially came out like 2 years ago, I believe it was, and the story was unique. So when it came across the screen again, I remembered it. I just didn't remember the names. And so we're talking. Well, I'm watching it. I think it was yesterday, and we came across a story of a now college ball player who's being accused of sexual assault. Now, as I'm looking at this dude's picture and stuff, I'm trying to figure out where I've seen this guy's face before. And then, the host came on and said, well, the guy was just in trouble 2 years ago for something else. So, bottom line, what it is, what we're going to talk about today is a guy by the name of Jonathan Tremaine Turner, who is now a college ball player, but initially he got in trouble or made headlines. Let me say that. He made headlines initially 2 years ago on what turned out to be a manslaughter. You could say conviction. He really took a plea deal, so it is a conviction. He didn't blow trial. He didn't make it to trial. He took the plea. So that's and we got AJ here. So we looked into a few things, and the reason why the whole manslaughter thing came up is because he just was arrested for sexual assault, an alleged sexual assault. This just happened. Facts are still coming out about it. Who am I? And I've said this on my podcast, so from day one, the very first episode we did, I said it. I hate when people automatically see a news story or something on social media, and automatically it's a fact. Automatically the person's guilty. Nah, man, you got to do your due diligence, and everybody is due the process, regardless if we like what they're being accused of or not. I have a huge problem with people who are accused of sexual assaults or sexual crimes. I apologize. Thank you, sir. But I have a huge problem with people who are accused of those sort of things. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it has something to do with underage people. Because they're just innocent, man. They haven't done nothing. Anyway, I don't want to go into all that. So that's what we're going to talk about. So we'll start off with what's been alleged, and it was that Mr. Turner, Jonathan Turner, was a college basketball player in Texas. I believe I have the name of his team here. I'm sorry, y'all going to see me look over a few times because I have my notes and stuff over here. But he plays for Ranger College in Texas, and he actually has a $300,000 bail right now, and the alleged victim said that she was actually sleeping, and when she woke up, he was already penetrating her, is what she said. I hate hearing this kind of shit. Before I even go into anything else, AJ, you have a take on this?
Well, from just hearing that, that's not cool. But I like I said, I'm gonna want to know the story before I form my full opinion on things. From coming from her side of the story, that's not cool at all. I don't know what the backstory is necessarily to that, so I could just speak on that information, and that's not right.
Okay, so again, Jonathan made headlines for his 2014 case, in which he copped out to a manslaughter charge when he was initially being charged for murder. So the reason this story was unique was he was he copped out. He took a plea deal in the manslaughter case of what was his best friend, a guy by the name of Troy Causey Jr. And how the story goes from his side. I'm gonna tell you guys what his version of the story was. His version of the story was they got into an argument. He said Jonathan Turner said that Troy Causey was mad the whole day, had an attitude the whole day. Now they were all roommates in a house that they shouldn't even been living in, and they were actually sharing the garage. And the reason why they shouldn't have been living there was, number one, they're high school kids. Number two, they're living in a garage that's not even made for people just to be living in. Number three, they only was living there to be able to go to a high school which was known for their basketball. Scouts go see them, so on and so forth. So the parents was looking at it as both these kids allegedly had a little bit of trouble in their past. They weren't doing good in school, according to people who were surrounding them. So the parents thought, okay, these guys love basketball. That's their motivation. Maybe they'll go over there and do good. It's a good school, and the scouts will come and see them watch play ball. Now these guys, if you look them up, these guys are one was 6'5", one was 6'7", and that's them in high school. You know, they still had a little more time to grow. So who knows? You know what I'm saying? And so according to what Jonathan's saying, Jonathan Turner, he said that Troy Causey was having a bad day. Some speculated some sort of jealousy between them over scouts, which didn't make any sense to me, but that's a whole other subject. And they got into an argument over a video game. They were playing some sort of video game. So apparently the argument spilled outside. These guys went outside and then started fighting. So according to Troy Turner, he didn't want to fight to begin with. That's according to him. They started fighting. He landed one punch and Troy dropped. I've been fighting for years. This type of stuff does happen. You can Google it, this kind of story. But I'm not saying this is what happened. He said he landed one punch, and one of the guys who was there said that he landed one punch, and they said that Troy fell to the floor and hit his head on the street, on the pavement, and he was out completely, and they just saw some blood. They said that they checked him, tried to get him some water and stuff like that. There was a neighbor who later on the police were trying to get as a witness, who was returning home from some sort of trip. He said he looked over, he went over there, tried to help them out. They picked him, they tried to give him some water, picked him up, took him into the house, and then the ambulance was called. Now, another piece of the story is their neighbor, who is a woman. Initially, when she called 911, she said that the kid was jumped, that 4 people jumped him. That was what she said happened. Okay? The ambulance took the kid to the hospital, and I think he was in ICU for a few days. I'm a little hazy on that. And what made this situation, you know what, before I get into that detail, because that detail bothered me, is there anything you want to add on this? You have some backstory, a little bit of the backstory.
I have most of what you were saying.
Okay.
The one thing that you didn't mention was that before this, Causey had a history of a temper and things that...
Causey being the victim.
Yes, the one that is no longer alive.
Yeah.
He had, when he was with his mother, before he went to stay with them, he had a history of violence. like a temper and causing things like not paying attention to school and things like that. Excuse me, causing him, like you said, for the mother to find another route for them to do better. Another thing is that Turner wasn't reported as the one that caused the death
initially.
Yeah, the one that struck Causey, he was not reported as being necessarily a violent person. He was real calm and to himself.
He did get in some trouble though. Before that, he had gotten into some prior stuff when he was much younger. Just one situation, and him too. He was doing bad in school. He wasn't doing good in school.
Yeah, like and then like you said, the neighbor called and the story was different. And included 4 people. When it boils down, they say it was one person. What else was there? The living situation, they were set up there. It had something to do with the coaching. It was like somebody that he was messing with or something like that.
Just like anything else, if you
kids.
don't. But and I want you, if you know, I want you to repeat that. But I'm sorry for cutting you off. But what I wanted to get out there for our news track is that these kids went to go live there not only because of those issues, but you got to understand something. Every school, especially when it comes to athletics and stuff like that, you have to live in a certain
district.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. A certain district in order for you to be able to be involved in the school and the college and whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that was a big piece because not only was the parents hoping that these kids were going to do better, and again, being a better academic school, a better chance to play ball on a higher level, be seen by scouts, but that was the other part, that you have to let them go live there in order for them to be able to go to the school. But tell the people again the connection between the coaches and the person who owned the house at the time.
I think they had some type of love interest.
Allegedly, they was boning
with each other. I didn't know if that was his mistress or girlfriend or what it was. That's why I just said love interest. So then she was basically housing kids so they can go to that school because I forgot which one was living there first. I think Causey was living there first, and then she took Turner in too when she said that, claimed that she didn't have much more room, but since she was a love interest, she housed another kid to be able to play on the team.
Yeah, because I think her son actually lived there too.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. So the part that bothered me about the situation, and I don't really want to bury this dude for this, but it like really got under my skin. Him and the other guy who was the witness to this whole thing, who helped him carry, who was, I believe, is the lady's son, lady who owned the house son. They actually went to the hospital and was talking to Miss Thompson. Miss Thompson is Mr. Turner's mother. Excuse me, Miss Simpson. I'm so sorry, Miss Simpson. Tammy Simpson is the mother of Causey and Troy Causey. So, and the stepfather and Miss Simpson was there. Mr. Simpson and Mrs. Simpson were there by the bedside. Both these guys came to the hospital, were at the bedside, and according to the parents of the Simpsons, according to them, both these guys sat there and was telling not only this kid who was now ICU was bleeding from in his brain, he had all kind of internal bleeding in his head and all of that, fractures to the skull. They were telling him and telling the parents that they're gonna find out who did this to him. Your take on that, sir?
My big, as we speak more and more things, I'll say more opinions that I have. But as of right now, my biggest thing is that the story started off with lies.
Yeah.
So if it's starting off with lies, then it's hard to get to believe when the truth really does come out.
Okay, that's fair. That's definitely fair. So what happens next is a particular officer, I believe his name is Montenegro, Officer Montenegro. He's looking at the blood splatter on the crime scene, and automatically he's saying he believes that something about this was off. He said, I don't believe that this just happened from a punch. Now I looked into it, and they have a law in Texas, and I don't think it's only in Texas, but we're talking about people in Texas, where if it's just a punch and in mutual combat, and I've experienced this type of shit here in New York, mutual combat laws, but over there we're talking about if in mutual combat somebody gets hurt or whatever, they don't charge you. Of course, there has to be certain, details, you know what I'm saying? But in this case, judging from the splatter and from the injuries, what they're saying is that no, this didn't just happen from a punch. You kicked him in his head. You stomped him out. And possibly more than one person stomped him out. And all of that was being denied. These guys were denying it. So apparently the cops got Turner by himself. They interviewed him. Turner actually, according to what I read, came down there with a lawyer. And so did the other young man, whose name I don't have here. I don't have here at the moment. But they went down there. They went down to the police station with a lawyer, and bottom line was the police arrested them, or arrested Turner. Excuse me, arrested Turner. So what ended up happening is that Mr. Causey passed away. He passed away from, and in the autopsy, when they looked, he had almost a Z shape, and yeah, man, I don't even think y'all even want to see pictures of that, but he had like a Z-shaped fracture in his skull, and his brain was swollen and stuff like that. So they're saying, hey, if you punch this guy and his head just hit the pavement, like, unless you hit this guy with like a Mike Tyson kind of punch, like, he wouldn't have, according to them, this ain't my opinion, according to them, he wouldn't have had a fracture of that sort. That's what they're saying. So what ended up happening is, a little bit down the line, they speak to a kid, another kid whose name, do I have it here? Cameron Bryant.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, Cameron Bryant. So the police did some more investigating, and supposedly Turner had told the kid by the name of Cameron Bryant while they were at school what allegedly was the true story. And according to him, he said that Turner told him that he punched him, and when he's talking to the cop is doing the math and saying, okay, the punch that you're saying is pretty much consistent with the rest of the story. Where his story, where Mr. Bryant's story fell apart from everybody else's, Bryant said that after he was on the floor, cause he was on the floor, that Turner did go and kick him in his face a few times. And supposedly the other guy who was with him, whose house it was, ran up and kicked him in the face too. Now I saw some of the pictures of the kid laying in the hospital. His eyes were damn near swollen shut, black and blue. Like, I won't lie. Like, if I had to go off the photos, and again, it's just my opinion, I don't know. I'm looking at that situation, I'm like, it's hard for me to believe one punch, your head hits the floor, and you get all that damage. Now, I will say this, and again, I know from being in the streets, seeing it myself. I have seen guys get hit and hit their head on the curb of a sidewalk and pass away. And, crack their skull and all that shit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Off the street, I've seen guys' heads bounce off the street and, like, have a concussion or blank out for a few minutes, but never pass away. I actually know somebody who lost a father like that. Maybe y'all talk to him and see if we can get him on the show, and maybe he can give some details to that. So bottom line, that's what Bryant said, that they did stomp him out while he was, or not stomp him out, but kicked him in his head a few times while he was knocked out. He was already unconscious on the floor after getting punched. So that's pretty much what it came down to. After that, he got arrested. Later on, the plea deal was given to him, and what happened was he was charged with murder. The reason why the charge got dropped down, according to police, was because Mr. Bryant and another witness refused to take the stand. They told the police and separately told the parents of Causey what they believe actually happened, what they say they witnessed. Well, one said witnessed, the other one said he just heard it, which was Bryant. Bryant was so key to it because he according to his story, he had other details that were consistent with the autopsy. So that's why his story was a little more important. So bottom line was Bryant and whoever else they had as witnesses refused to get on the stand to testify. They were willing to tell the cops the truth and tell the parents the truth, but they were not willing to get on the stand. After that, and in recent times, the case got reopened because Cameron Bryant later on is trying to recant his statement because news reporters from outside the line, ESPN, and multiple other sources started trying to find him. And according to police and according to reporters, he just disappeared. No one could find him anywhere, which of course hurt the case. They had to bring down the charges. And the embarrassing part out of this whole situation was Turner took the plea, but he got a sweet deal that any one of us would have took. He was charged with manslaughter. He was given a 7-year suspended sentence and probation. Now, if you don't know what a suspended sentence means, is you don't do no jail time, or if you already have, which we call in New York, time served. The number of time you've already been in jail can count towards what your deal is or whatever they want to sentence you to. You know what I'm saying? So let's say, for example, you've been fighting a case for 3 years, and the judge or the court, the jury, whoever, can find you guilty and say, you know what, you sentenced to 4 years, but we'll suspend a year because you've been in there 3 years. You know what I'm saying? But in most cases, the suspended sentences, you never even touched the jail other than when you were initially arrested. You know what I'm saying? So he got a 7-year sentence that was suspended. He's not doing 7 years. He's doing probation on a manslaughter charge. But to make the matters worse out of that whole situation is the point. If he goes 7 years without getting into any trouble, that his record is quite clean. So it doesn't even show up on his record. How do you do that in a court full of his family members and think that that's justice? I don't know. That's all. That's really what I got a few more details to the current thing that I want to bring up. But before we do that, I just want you to chime in on all of this.
Well, the one thing you corrected it as you spoke, but when they brought him in after they spoke to Bryant, because everybody else, like I read the article from ESPN Outlines, so I read the whole story from there. So Jay might have got some more information and little things, so I'm just trying to piece them together. On the article I read, it said they were able to bring him in after speaking to Bryant because everybody else,
that is what happened. I had that part wrong.
Everybody else before that was either saying that he hit him one time and then that was it, and also one person said that he swung, didn't connect, and the kid fell on himself. Yeah. The other thing that's different is I didn't see pictures. I didn't see the pictures that Jay's talking about. I saw the one picture when he was in the hospital bed and it was like a breathing tube in his mouth. That's the one picture I saw. So I can't come to a conclusion off of pictures. Pictures would definitely sway me a different way because I would be able to draw a better conclusion. Like, this is not just one punch. So that's the one thing that Jay saw that I didn't see. Also, like, then after the fact, Bryant, when it came time for the case, they couldn't find him. He wasn't around.
Yeah, when the trial was coming in.
When they spoke to him again, he said that Turner or somebody else threatened him after that not to say anything, or what they said was wrong. They was like, oh, they told me to say this. So that was
he turned around and said that the police pressured him into saying that.
Yeah, he said that Montenegro told him to say that.
But some people were saying he was pressured by outside sources for him not to talk.
Also, they mentioned that later on, when they got other specialists to look at the pictures, that they were saying that it wasn't necessarily from a kick, that the skull swells, so they couldn't determine that it was from a kick. They took multiple people to look at it. When the person from outside the lines went to look, 3 out of the 4 said they couldn't make that conclusion that there was a kick. And again, I didn't see the pictures, so I can't really jump on that. So far, what we spoke of, that's what I have to say about that.
So bottom line, the dude is in jeopardy now, and he's only being brought back in the limelight because it's sexual assault, alleged sexual assault. And all right, before I get into my opinion on that, I'm just gonna say what can happen now is all this shit can come back up. He can end up now doing the 7 years for the manslaughter. You're on probation, you violate your probation. Sometimes, they could shorten what your sentence is. So don't be shocked that happened. It's happened to me. I am proof of that type of shit happening. I owed 11 months. I violated when I finally turned myself in for the thing. I ended up doing, I believe it was 3 months. So I got sentenced to 90 days. I owed 11 months out of a 5-year sentence that I had. You know what I'm saying? So my time got lessened, but it was because for the most part, for like the 4 years before that last year, I did every and anything. I never failed any drug tests, never anything. Anything they told me to do, school programs, all of that. I did everything that they told me to do. So yeah, things were a little bit different for me, but I'm going to tell you right now, he got 7 years on a manslaughter charge. I don't see, right now his PO can violate him right now, this second. He got to do them 7 years. And they don't got shit to do with the sexual assault case. So just be clear on that. Whatever time homie ends up getting, that's going to be for the manslaughter. The sexual assault case is a whole other situation. You know what I'm saying? In this young guy's life. Now, here's my problem. I have 2 issues here. I want to just be careful with my words because this is a young dude. You know what I'm saying? And listen, it is what it is. Fuck it. I'm just going to say how I feel. It is what it is. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? If, in fact, he had anything to do with the situation with this chick, female, she's an alleged victim here. I don't, in no way do I want to, come off no way about her. But let's just be real here, homie. If you was in a situation where a 7-year suspended fucking sentence and you got, a probation for it, man, whether or not you intended that, whether or not you actually kicked homie in the head, but let's just put that to the side for a second. You initially charged with murder, my man, and it got broken down to probation. Why the fuck would you do anything else that will bring any sort of attention back on you? The initial case that happened, where unfortunately Mr. Causey passed away, that was 2014, my man. The end of 2014, I believe. Anyway, it was in 2014. You ain't get sentenced till 2015. So what I'm trying to understand is here we are in 2016 or 2017, or was it 2016 he got?
I don't.
It was either 2015 or 2016 that he actually got his sentence.
It was 15.
Right? So bottom line, this is what it boiled down to. You're fresh off this shit. You're now in your first year of college. You're playing ball. You are lucky. You are beyond lucky, my man. I don't give a fuck what's going on, and I understand what some people are going to say. Hey, he made a mistake. This was what the police offered him. This is what the courts offered him. So, you can't be mad at him for whatever the courts gave him. I get that. But at the same time, why not keep the lowest fucking profile you possibly can? Because it's not to say that he actually did anything to that young woman. I don't know. And I couldn't find more facts on the situation, right? It just happened. This is fresh. That only happened like 2 days ago, if I'm not mistaken, that he was arrested for it. So, all I'm trying to understand is, fam, why the fuck, in this situation, I want to be, super low. You want to be able to, I'm trying to stay all the way the fuck away from everything, especially if I'm still trying to pursue my dream. My life was just altered by what happened. One simple mistake, and I know how that goes. A blink of an eye. I've been there. Blink of an eye, your life fucking changes on one deep breath and one punch, one anything changes your life and changes the life of the people around you. Not to mention the victims. You were still given an opportunity, man. What the fuck, man?
Let me jump in. The one thing that we both forgot to mention is that they both considered themselves to be like brothers. It's not that they were just living together.
On Causey and Turner.
Causey and Turner considered themselves to be like brothers. Simpson, the mother of Turner, said that sometimes after hanging up the phone, she would hear him say, "I love you, bro."
Yeah.
Like, refer to each other like brothers, like that. So, to piggyback off of what Jay just said, not just to keep a low profile, but if you killed your brother purposely or not purposely, if you punched him and then he died from that, or you kicked him and all that other shit, if that's your brother, that would affect you personally. The bond that they're saying they had, that would affect you to the point where you would stay clear of all that shit. So just for the simple fact that you're putting yourself in a predicament where it either happened or it didn't happen, just the fact that you're in that predicament and it was lies from the beginning, from the first story, like, you're bringing this on yourself.
Yes. Yeah, that's how I feel. And the second part of what I want to say is this. Miss Simpson, the mother of Troy Causey, they said that she came to one of Mr. Turner's college basketball team games with signs saying that she felt that her son, excuse me, I don't remember exactly what was written on the sign, but it was like saying that her son didn't get justice, like saying, "Yo, you killed my son." And supposedly the whole gym got quiet, nobody knew what to do, and after a few minutes, someone walked up to her and asked her to leave. I don't know if it was security. I know the referees were trying to figure out what to do according to the report. But eventually she was asked to leave. And she was there with her other children with signs. So bottom line is, the heat is still on your ass. There's somebody out there who's still not taking this for an answer. She didn't get justice for her son, man. In the courtroom when you got sentenced, she came out and said, "I don't forgive you, and I wish you all the pain." She said that out of her own mouth. I even heard the audio. I heard when the stepfather came out and said, because Turner, when he was sentenced, he turned around to the family and was like, "I'm sorry, I wish this didn't happen." And the stepfather was like, "Yo, my man, why you ain't say that when you was at the bedside then?"
Yep.
And I felt the same way. Like, yo, fam, like, yo, are you... And I want to give people the benefit of the doubt and say, yo, maybe he got scared. When the initial thing happened, I'm pretty sure they all panicking. He's on the floor, and he's probably figuring out, "Oh, shit, what do I do next?" So they picked the guy up and and brought him into the house. I'm pretty sure off the top he's scared shitless, so he ain't about to say, "Yo, that was me." I can get that, but I'm thrown off with the part of you showing up to the fucking hospital, and you and your homie are sitting there talking to Causey as he lays there, out of it, and you're telling him and telling the parents, "Yo, we gonna find out who did this." Like, that's some old other shit, man. The parents are still on your ass, and you gonna draw some sort of attention to yourself, man? Because again, in case y'all didn't get it, the alleged sexual assault victim said that she woke up and he was having sex with her. She did not consent. She said she woke up to him doing that to her. So,
and like, the only other fact that I have on that case is that she has text messages with him sending stuff, so that definitely doesn't help in his favor. So he.
Oh yeah, that he was threatening
probably
her.
More guilty.
Yeah, that he was threatening her. Good looking, AJ. You want to elaborate a little bit more? Did you read a little bit more?
That's all I really got.
Yeah, supposedly he was sending her text messages threatening her that she better not tell anybody, she better not go to the authorities, so on and so forth. So, again, it looks bad from every angle, and it's like, yo, my man, I don't want to sit here and say that you're guilty. I don't know. We have to wait for more facts to come out. But again, I feel for the anybody, any real sexual victims, because there's some people out here lying, and that's just the truth. But for the people who really going through that, man, I feel for them badly, especially the children, man. And it's like no one deserves for that type of shit to happen. But I don't want to just automatically say he's guilty because we have to wait for more of the facts to come out. But as of right now, it's just not looking good. And I'm gonna tell you right now, man, you looking like the young OJ out here, my man.
And also to touch on this, just to show that it's no bias or anything like that. Both of the Causey and Turner, both people that are in this situation are both black or African American, however you want to say it. So it's not like we're saying that it's a white person getting off on this, European person getting off on this. It's all what we read and how we're taking it as a person. Race has nothing to do with it.
I don't got shit to do with it. All right, man. I do want to hear people's comments on this. I always ask for it, and I know everybody don't do it. I always get the text messages, emails, and the phone calls about episodes that we put out. But, I would like y'all to comment more in the comment section. That's what it's there for. And the only reason why I ask you to do that is because a lot of people, like myself, when they watch a video on YouTube or something, or listen to something on SoundCloud, whatever, they often look down to see what the comments were. What different opinions is there. Because some people are looking to have a dialogue with other people about the different topics. So please, feel free to comment on any of the platforms that you listening or watching this on, so that other people get the opportunity not only to feel comfortable enough to comment, but even more so that these people are able to share a dialogue. Maybe they're able to share information. Maybe it's just an opinion. Either way, why not talk about it, man? Let them know where to find you, AJ.
AJ Dunk, all caps, can be found at ajdunk.com. And everything, that's the simplest way, because everything is from there. I'm feeding you, like I'm putting the food in your mouth, people. You don't have to do nothing else. No, I'm just saying, how easy have I made it since I started?
You put the food in their mouth. What the fuck?
I'm spoon feeding these people.
Okay,
From when I started, I was like, go to iTunes. Now you don't have to go to iTunes. You can go to my site. Oh, you go to my site. You don't figure out how to play it. I'm putting it out on YouTube. You just have to click play.
I agree.
You don't even have to do that. You just have to click open. I am spoon feeding these people, so it's not that difficult.
The spoon with the dusty spoon. He's feeding you with the dusty spoon. He ain't even wipe it.
No, I'm not.
He ain't even rinse
that
it out.
That takes more time. Maybe one day I'll get the silver.
All right, y'all. Check me out on iTunes. Don't forget to rate me on iTunes, please. Comment on SoundCloud, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. 3 things you always have to do. And if these stories ain't, if these actual events ain't more proof of that, I don't know what is. 3 things you got to do for the Wolf Pack, man. That's provide, protect, and educate. Street Wolves, salute you.